This message didn't find you by chance, chosen one. This letter was divinely provided to you at the ideal time, chosen one. It wasn't by accident that you found it. Your spirit needed strength, your heart has been silently seeking clarity in the midst of turmoil, and your soul needed confirmation, which is why you were brought here. You've noticed a change. You've been feeling a strong, unsaid pull between your past and your future. You were formerly undervalued by certain people. They believed that you were just another person, name or spirit that happened to be in their lives. They failed to see your precious worth. Your holy presence was unacknowledged. They are now realizing that they were mistaken to believe that you might be replaced. They are missing your enthusiasm now. They now understand that the place you formerly occupied cannot be recreated. They are currently making an effort to return to the light they previously rejected, either quietly or bravely. The fact is, however, that once a chosen one changes, they can't be undone. In 7 compelling chapters, this message will guide you through the truth, with the goal of enlightening your knowledge and honing your discernment. If you haven't already, please take a time to like, share, and subscribe before we continue. For every selected person who has ever been disregarded, underappreciated, or taken for granted, this is a holy reminder and a heavenly transmission. It is not simply another video. Your soul has been waiting for this truth. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $100 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom. For you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. Please leave the number 55 in the comments if this message had a profound effect on you, or if you feel your spirit awakening to the truth of who you really are. This is more than simply a figure. It is a revered representation of divine alignment. You use it to communicate to the cosmos. I remember who I am. I assert my authority. I am walking with a purpose. Recognize that not everyone will read all the way through this message. Since this isn't merely content, only those who have been genuinely selected will feel compelled to stick with it through every word, every truth, and every revelation. It's affirmative. It is spiritual sustenance. It serves as an awakening mirror. When you're feeling down, or forget how powerful your presence truly is, remember this message. You'll discover something you missed each time you go back to it, something your soul was at last prepared to absorb. This is a spiritual seed, not simply a word, and if you allow it to grow, it will keep growing. Let's get started. Let's begin with the one that was chosen. People begin to assume that your light will always be accessible if they become accustomed to it. They have never known life without your warmth, so they take it for granted. They mistake your empathy for gullibility. They see your forgiveness as consent and your quiet as weakness. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. They witnessed your consistent presence. They saw you pardon the unpardonable. Instead of appreciating your energy, they started to feel entitled to it after seeing you show grace to people who seldom showed you even the most basic respect. When their entire world was collapsing, they phoned you, the one who provided second chances Even while your own heart was aching, you were the haven, the savior, the inspiration. They ridiculed your sensitivity while relying on your strength. They denied your worth while leaning on your spirit. Don't just watch, be part of the journey. Hit subscribe now and step into your purpose. The best is yet to come. However, there came a day when you just woke up, devoid of anger or retaliation, ego or resentment. You noticed that you were pouring into folks who never filled your cup again when you looked around. You were giving up your tranquility to keep those safe who wouldn't even defend your reputation in a gossip-filled room. When you needed support, you were reaching out to people who kept their hand in their pockets, and you became exhausted on a spiritual as well as bodily level. You came to understand that being selected does not equate to being utilized. You came to see that you should never betray yourself in order to be loyal to others. Thus, you took the unimaginable action of leaving. You didn't cause any trouble. There was no need for you to repeat yourself 10 times. You didn't make an effort to prove your value to those who had already chosen to minimize it. It was sufficient that you just drained your energies. The thing about a chosen one is that you take your spirit with you when you depart, not just your physical presence. You relax. Because of your relationship with God, you are able to take the supernatural covering that was placed over the individuals in your life. And that lack reverberates. They initially made an effort to pretend it didn't matter. They attempted to minimize your significance, imitate your enthusiasm, and replace you. However, energy never lies, and your absence was more noticeable than your presence. All of a sudden, there was less laughter. There was less light in the air. Their triumphs felt different. The blessings became less frequent. Unbeknownst to them, the supernatural protection they had enjoyed vanished. They understood that they were missing more than just a person. They lacked a covering, a divine link, an energy so unique that it was impossible to produce or replicate. They are now seeing you from a distance, understanding that the access they previously had was sacred, that your presence was a privilege rather than a guarantee, and that your energy was never ordinary, it was anointed. However, if you've been picked, you won't be returning, because this was never about establishing your value to them. It was about remembering your value as an individual. Although they didn't anticipate your departure, your narrative didn't finish there. It marked the start of your alignment. Here's the truth. Chosen one. They didn't sit there in silence after you left. No, they made an effort to replace the void you left. They believed that they could go on, and that the loss you caused was only a brief interruption. They made an effort to pretend that nothing was wrong, that your departure wouldn't rock their lives to their core. But despite their best efforts to act like they were acting, something was always lacking. They attempted to take your position. They introduced them to new people, some of whom they knew well, and others who they had never met before. They sought comfort in the arms of lovers who could never really know them, friends who never saw the depth of their souls, and gatherings that couldn't even come close to matching the tranquility your presence offered. They found diversion in short-lived relationships. Everything was surface level. There was nothing that could compare to the holiness of what you provided. The fact is that your energy is unique. Thus, none of it could make up for the void you left. No matter how hard someone tries, they can never duplicate it. The energy in the room is raised simply by your presence, which conveys a vibration that uplifts everyone in your vicinity. Your quiet says a lot. Even when you're not speaking, others can sense the calm aura and healing serenity it carries. Your words are more than just words. They are blessings wrapped in sound, vitality, and encouragement. They had access to something much bigger than they knew while you were in their lives. A heavenly mission wrapped up in your presence. You were a messenger, a source of healing and energy, and a key to unlocking their own potential. You were never merely a friend, lover, or companion. However, that access was taken off when you left, so they can't replace you now. Try as they may. They might make a lot of noise, but it's meaningless noise. Even if they are surrounded by crowds of people, they nevertheless feel alone, since they aren't truly connected. Even though they may try to move on, laugh, or smile, they will always remember you. Unquestionably, they know they lost something valuable, even if they try to seem like they don't miss you, and that you were simply another chapter in their story. They are aware that they made a sacred mistake. They may not express it out loud, but they know in their hearts that no one else can replace the calm, depth, and vitality you once gave them. They are left with a gap they will never be able to fill because you were a gift they didn't completely appreciate, a light they didn't comprehend until it was gone. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. As the one who has been selected, you are all too aware of the unpleasant difference between being used and being loved. There are those who never really fell in love with who you are. The way your energy made them feel made them fall in love. They were drawn to the serenity you exuded during their storms, the bravery you inspired during their periods of uncertainty, and the consoling warmth you provided when everything seemed hopeless. Their nervous minds were calmed by your remarks. Their doubts vanished when you touched them. Their turmoil was stabilized by your very presence. They saw you as a power source that was directly connected to their needs, not merely a buddy or romantic relationship. This affection, however, was not unconditional. It was based on what you gave rather than who you are. They feasted on your soul, not invested in it. Your spirit was drained by these energy vampires who never restored it. They gently drained you dry while grinning at you, referring to you as family, and even expressing their love for you. They were blind to your boundaries, your tears, and your quiet pleas for sleep. They only experienced the rush of your encouragement, the high of your support, and the surge of your confidence that boosted theirs. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. And they were left helpless, their own strength gone, when you stopped, when you set appropriate boundaries, or when you turned your back. Make no mistake, chosen one, you are a conduit of heavenly light, bearing spiritual protection and age-old wisdom that enhances each area you enter. Your energy is not a tool that can be turned on or off at the whim of another else. Rather, it is a holy gift. The people who relied on you were left vulnerable when you eventually took back your authority and stopped contributing. They found out all of a sudden that they had no basis of their own. It darkened their floodlights. They were standing in the same shadows from which they had once leaned to get away. Since it was never theirs to hold, it was a reflection of your own. Their resilience vanished. They long for you to come back now. Your name is called in crowded spaces. They listen to voice notes, go over previous communications, and relive recollections in an attempt to catch a glimpse of what you provided. However, their desire stems from dependency rather than true love or respect for one another. Unaware that real healing emerges from learning to stand in one's own light, they need your energy in the same way that junkies crave their next fix. And now you, the selected one, can clearly see them. You understand that their desire is an appeal for assistance in finding a source of strength independent of you. The burden of people who mistakenly believe that your gift would provide service is lifted, allowing you to move forward on your journey. Your presence, chosen ones, has always carried an indisputable power that speaks its truth without the use of words. You reflect the spirits around you without even realizing it. Simply by being here, you mirror the innermost truths and hidden aspects of other people. You shine so brilliantly because of your purity, progress, and light that you show what many would prefer to keep buried. You don't need to draw attention to it. You don't need to pass judgment. You just be, and by being so, you reveal the darkness others fear. This was a gift to some. Being close to you helped them see their own potential and the parts of their life that required improvement. Others, however, saw your very existence as a danger. You forced them to face aspects of themselves they weren't prepared to, including the lies they told themselves, the anxieties they covered up with pride, and the insecurities they buried. All of it was illuminated by your light, making them face the thing they had been avoiding for so long. You didn't pass judgment. You weren't conceited. Your spirit was more powerful than words, and you were just being true to yourself. People have only two options when you beam that kind of light into their darkness. Either they will change and grow by facing their shadows, or they will push you away and reject the truth. Unfortunately, a lot of people went for the latter option because they weren't prepared, not because you did something wrong. The inner work that would unite them with their higher selves was something they were not ready to perform. They viewed you as a danger to their comfort zone, rather than as a force for change in them. You made them feel insecure. You revealed their disguises, the fictitious personas they had painstakingly created to shield themselves from reality. You questioned their sluggish thinking, lethargy, and resistance to change. And when faced with this obstacle, they abandoned you, rather than acknowledging your contribution to their enlightenment. They pushed you away because they didn't want to put in the effort to change, not because you were mistaken. They are now surrounded by others who support their dysfunction and encourage their self-doubt and stories of restriction. People who accept their justifications and let them continue in their old habits surround them. No one is left to hold up the mirror, to show them the reality they must confront. They also, deep down, secretly, miss you. They miss the way you motivated them to do more. They miss how you pushed them to be better and greater than they were, just by being there. They may never acknowledge it, but they are aware that the development they may have had with you in their lives has since vanished. You were never merely one of their selected companions. You served as a mirror, and now that you are gone, they must confront reality on their own and ponder what could have been if they had simply welcomed the light you brought into their shadows. You were quietly changing, while others were busy acting indifferent. You journaled your suffering into meaning late at night. You sat in silent contemplation, letting old wounds come to the surface and mend them. You asked for assistance, maybe through counseling, prayer, or in-depth discussions with mentors. You discovered latent abilities and gifts you had long forgotten, and you started using them every day to create art, hone skills, and share your knowledge with the world. You developed the ability to create healthy boundaries, say no without feeling guilty, and focus your energies on the things that really count. By letting go of the unhealthy relationships and behaviors that used to define you, you were able to regain your serenity. You took bold, yet modest moves toward the life you were meant to live, moving closer to your mission. You prioritized self-care routines that nourished your spirit, started projects that thrilled your soul, and joined communities that spurred your growth. You discovered how to breathe, meditate, and pay attention to your heart's whispers. You stopped lavishing your time, love, and attention on people who never truly reciprocated in the process. You no longer apologized for your passion, your drive, or your ability to feel intensely. You stopped pleading with those who had never realized your value to see you, listen to you, and value you. Instead, you celebrated each accomplishment as evidence of your growth and demanded the respect and attention you always deserved. You learned to be thankful for every lesson, turning setbacks into opportunities. You realized that your development was a gift to everyone around you as well as to yourself. You started acting more like the chosen person you really are. You exuded grace and confidence that you had never had before. You were nice and persuasive in your speech. You made decisions based on purpose, rather than what other people thought you should do. You took on problems that used to terrify you because you believed that every step you took would only strengthen your inner fortitude. You discovered how to see your journey as exclusively yours and to appreciate your progress rather than comparing it to someone else's timeline. They see you now. They see the light emanating from you, even if they don't say it out loud. They see the change in your demeanor, the understated command in your stance, the composed assurance in your speech, the effortless serenity in your eyes. They feel you've risen. Even strangers remark on your glow, and longtime friends inquire, "What changed?" Their casual praises reveal their desire for the vitality you exude. Because of the way your evolution has changed the atmosphere around them, they can no longer act as though your absence is unimportant. They can't get in touch with you the way they used to. The energy that they once freely borrowed is now set aside for your personal development and for people who genuinely appreciate it. Not because they want to grow with you, but because they are unable to access the spiritual power they originally saw as a convenience. They are upset because they have come to understand that your presence was more than just companionship. It was a catalyst for their own healing and development. There is no denying your progress. There is no stopping your evolution. You are now a living example of what occurs when someone puts themselves first, gets over their past traumas, and truly embraces their destiny. You keep growing, motivating, and setting an example with each morning. You attract people into your light, creating a positive ripple effect that benefits everyone in your circle and beyond. The world is unable to ignore you, and you should continue to shine brightly. Most of them will eventually turn around. It's practically a given. After all, everyone sensed the emptiness you left behind, the lack of your energy. Although some people lack the confidence to approach others directly, their interest will be evident in subtle ways. By silently indicating that they are observing, they might like one of your posts. In an attempt to gauge your response, they may send you a message, acting as if nothing happened, as if they can pick up where things left off. They might inquire if you're free to talk. Some of them could even offer an apology, which initially might seem honest. They'll say they've changed, that they regret the way things turned out, or that they were mistaken. However, not all apologies are as straightforward as they seem. Some of these purported apologies are really covert manipulations. They are sorry that they no longer have access to your energy, not that they are sorry for how they treated you. You are not missed by them. They miss the advantages you provided them. They miss your strength when they were unable to stand alone, your knowledge, your calm, and your capacity to calm their fears. Don't fall for it. It's possible that their desire for reconciliation stems from need rather than respect or affection. They want to feel your light and vitality again, to go back to the comfort you gave them. Don't take their return for real progress, even if they say they've changed. They would have respected your energy while they had it if they really knew what they were losing. Don't let nostalgia prevent you from seeing their actual intentions. Chosen one. Reconnecting with old acquaintances and going back to a time when everything seemed safer and easier can be alluring. However, you fought too hard to allow previous attachments to pull you back down, and your growth has taken you to a new place, a higher vibration. You're not the same person you were before, who would let other people use your energies. You've removed layers of incorrect notions and old traumas. They didn't care to comprehend the aspects of you that you've healed. You have accepted your divine purpose, and you cannot allow anything or anyone to divert you from it. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in His divine mission and contribute to His greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, His protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of His sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like His mighty rock. Experience God's miracles. Feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. Keep in mind that God has a purpose for closing the doors to your past. You cannot give those who took advantage of you another opportunity to sap your energy as your trip continues. Let the lesson they need to learn be their absence. Saving everyone, especially those who didn't value you when they had the opportunity, is not your responsibility. You can forgive them, but it doesn't mean you have to open the door again. You are the one who deserves forgiveness. Although it is the key that frees you from the bonds of bitterness, it does not require you to re-establish a relationship with those who have never shown you the respect you are due. A new chapter that is in line with your higher purpose is about to begin. It's okay if not everyone is destined to walk this new season with you. Some folks weren't supposed to be in your future. They were just supposed to be in your past. Remain calm. Retain your boundaries. Allow your life to be a reflection of the knowledge and fortitude you have acquired. Some people will appreciate your presence, your time, and your energy, and they will see you for who you really are. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. They will give, care for, and support you in return. They won't just take. Have faith that the people who are supposed to accompany you on your new journey will show up when the time is appropriate. In the meantime, keep going. Continue to safeguard your divine mission, your energy, and your tranquility. You have been selected, and now is the moment to proudly embrace who you are. The days of minimizing oneself to conform to the narrow comprehension of others are finished. No more lowering your brightness to appease people. You don't need to justify your value to others who can't comprehend the depth of your being.